This is my life. This is my time. I believe in me.
Desire connects you with the things desired, and expectation draws it into your life. This is the law by Raymond Holliwell. So let me start with introducing myself. My name is Tanya Marie. I am a certified life mastery consultant. And for some time, I have been coaching people and bringing their awareness with these laws. So let's get started. The invisible laws of the universe are as real as the laws of gravity, electricity, or thermodynamics. And just because we can't see them or we may not be aware of them does not mean that they are not always at work. The 11 laws of the universe we will be studying are continually at work in our lives. When we become aware of them, we are able to work in harmony with them to create a life that we love. Now, why study these laws? All failures in life are due to taking sides with the finite around us, the things that we can see, smell, touch, taste. All success in life is due to taking sides with the law within us, those things that we cannot see. Thus, working with the law may be considered the same as taking the law into our minds and our lives as somewhat of a silent partner. We are conscious of the source and the creator of all of our power. And we realize and receive the many benefits that surround us. Simply put, when we understand the laws of the universe, what they are, how they work, and how to apply them, life gets easier and more successful. What are these laws that we will be studying? The law of thinking. Everything is created twice. Pay attention to what you're paying attention to. The law of supply. We live in an abundant universe, and we make agreement only with abundance. Make no agreement with lack. The law of attraction. We attract what we focus on, what we're interested in, what we pay attention to. The law of attraction is activated by a burning desire coupled with grateful expectation. The law of receiving is activated by giving. You cannot get heat from a wooden stove unless you give it some wood. You cannot reap a harvest unless you plant seeds. Regular and systematic giving is the key. You give expectantly. Give in the area where you feel the most lack. The law of increase. Some may say it's the law of praise. That which we praise increases. And as we become a person of increase, particularly in the areas where we feel lack, we will experience increase. The law of compensation. The better we serve and the more skilled we become, the greater the demand and the greater the reward for our services. The law of non-resistance. You focus on the thing that you do want, not on that which you do not want. And sometimes you win an argument by even refusing to argue in the first place. we will learn the art of Aikido, that when you duck when someone takes a swing and you just keep your eyes on the prize. Then we will go into the law of forgiveness. This is a shift in perception that actually removes a block in me to my awareness of love's presence. And that is to my awareness that every act is either an expression of love or a call for love, regardless of how unskillful it may seem. Then the law of sacrifice, the lesser to gain the greater. You sacrifice one thing to get something better, which is giving up something of a lower nature to gain something of a higher nature. The practice of discipline is an expression of the law of sacrifice. Then we have the law of obedience. When we get in harmony with these laws of the universe, life does get easier. And last but not least is the success, the law of success. It is the intention of God, the universe, the spirit for each one of us to be successful, to be great, to flourish, to prosper, and to progress. Now, I believe that this chapter is maybe the most important chapter in the book, because it explains that these laws in the rest of the book are governed by our true beliefs and how they create the life that we are living, whether we are controlling them by controlling our thoughts, or we're just letting them run on our current awareness. Now, to study these laws means we take the time to learn them, to think about them, to come to our own individual understanding of them. And then we may recognize that there is a larger truth than our current beliefs. He states, try to improve upon all of your opinions. Endeavor to obtain a truer, larger conception of each one of your personal views. And as we study these laws and acquire a better understanding of them, many of our old views of ourselves and the world around us will fall to pieces. And as we use our new understanding by working with the law, it will create better thinking on our part. And that will create better emotions or feelings. And in turn, we will find ourselves taking better, more accurate action steps that will create better results in our lives. Now, we must learn to use our powers instead of our powers using us. Make a daily effort to use the knowledge that we've gained through these studies as we grow through this program. It is important to know that the shallow surface thought that we give to everyday small things in your regular duties that you do every day, like brush your teeth, put your shoes on, is not the thought that reforms our character, develops our mind, or changes our destiny. No, no, no. It is the positive, deep, penetrating thought that comes from profound and strong conviction, born of a higher perception and a clearer realization of the truth. I want you to always make it a point of moving forward in your mind, ever seeking to unfold your power of thought and to develop your hidden possibilities. Now, this chapter opens with this statement: The question uppermost in the world of thought today is whether a man has the capacity, equipment, and power to control his life, whether he can be what he wants to be, or whether he is a drop in the great ocean of life. Now, most people move through life believing that the circumstances around him dictate what he can be, do, or have. They believe that the obstacles in their lives are stronger than the power within themselves. They may go through lives and occasionally have some small little improvements, but instead of giving themselves credit for the shift or some small shift that they had in their own thinking, they actually give credit to their circumstances for shifting and allowing the good into their lives. There are many, many things that they place blame on. If the things that aren't going their way in their life, they may blame it on heredity, their parents, their grandparents. They may blame it on karma, the environment, the economy, numerous external other things. They sometimes even place blame on God himself. They believe in the natural limitations of life. But scientists, on the other hand, scientists are searching into the mysteries of human life, and they reveal to us a wonderful world of power, possibility, and promise. Mr. Holliwell tells us that the mind is a creative cause of all that transpires in the life of a man, that the personal conditions are the results of a man's actions or his inactions, that the actions of a man are the direct outcome of his ideas, that we never make a move of any kind until we first have some form of image or a plan in our minds. Now, these ideas, images, or plans are their thoughts. And these thoughts create a tremendous energy. Scientists say this is the key to success in living life. And there is a phrase from this chapter that Bob Proctor uses often, and it is, there is a marvelous inner world that exists within man. And the revelation of such a world enables man to do, attain, and to achieve anything he desires within the bounds or limits of nature. Now, to open this marvelous inner world, we must cultivate our minds. We must increase our thinking abilities. We must use our imaginations and follow a plan created. Now, every man is his own designer and builder, just like the Creator himself. He makes his creations within before they materialize on the outside. So the more control you have, and this will come with a greater awareness and our understanding of these laws of your thoughts, you will have greater control over designing a life that you would love. Now, I have to go into these laws do not question or challenge the kind of picture that we give it. So we must be crystal clear on the pictures we hold in our thoughts and our words. It only knows that it must take what is offered or planted and then proceed to materialize it into visible form. So there is a time when my mortgage payment was kicked back from the bank. And before I knew it, I was owing 2 or 3 months immediately. I thought to myself, how did this happen? What is going on? Immediately. Because of my understanding of these laws, I asked myself, what thoughts or statements had I had to create this? Now, usually I keep in the forefront of my thoughts my beautiful home filled with love, a picture of it renewed, perfect, like it was just built, fresh and clean. So then I asked my husband, have you been thinking or making any statements that would cause the universe to create these results? He said, well, I was thinking about how nice it would be to have a bigger garage and more space to work. And I was pretty upset throwing things around at the time. So my emotions were involved. I'm like, oh my, right in front of us was his actual manifestations working in a way that was undesirable. So he and I discussed what needed to be thought about and spoke about to be more clear on what we really wanted. And of course, it was our house. I expressed to him he must be grateful for his garage. He must organize it so that he would be happy and grateful for his space, and he agreed to do so. And after a few months, we were able to catch up on our payments and become current. This is one of the things that we should talk about. If you say, I want a new car, I want a new car, and all of a sudden you have an accident and your car is totally demolished, and you're upset because you just got in a car accident. It was what you were wanting. You wanted a new car. And in order to get a new car, you have to get rid of the old one. These are the things that are invisible that work around us every single day. So we must be careful and we must pay attention to what we ask for and what we don't. Now, these are examples of working with the law, whether it's in your favor or not. What you create in your mind will manifest in your reality, especially if it's used with emotion. The emotion amplifies the energies around us to bring us closer in a smaller amount of time. These emotions could come from anger, sadness, being worried. If you're focused on something, worried about it, you will bring that to you more quickly. These laws do not question or challenge the kind of picture that we give it. So we must be clear on the pictures that we hold in our thoughts and in our words. It also knows that it must take what is offered or planted and then proceed to materialize it in visible form. You cannot have thoughts of or a picture of poverty, failure, disease, and doubt, and then you expect in return wealth, success, health, and courage. No. This creative principle is summarized in a sentence found in Proverbs. It reads, as a man thinketh in his heart, so he is. Everyone is governed by this law. All of these laws, whether they know it or not. It is the realization of the laws in action that determine manifestations. And the more we study these laws and use them to our favor, the more power we will have to obtain what we really want to do, be, or attain. Mr. Holliwell goes on to explain that an electrician does not pray and wait for electric energy to make up its mind to serve him. He must first learn the laws that govern electricity, the laws of conduction and transmission. And then he must know how to cooperate with these laws. Then he must respect and follow the laws, because he will have results based on his use of the laws. He will either be able to harness the electricity properly and be able to switch it on and off with a light switch, or he may be electrocuted or burned. It is the realization of the law in action that determines manifestation and results in his favor. Now, our main object is to arouse the individual to think for himself, to cultivate his own powers, and thereby take the sure path of self-development and true culture. We want to go from having limited views, prejudiced convictions, and materialistic opinions, which are all signs of lack or real undevelopment in form. Now, great thought, wide and tolerant views, wholesome convictions, and expanding conceptions. So if you look at this picture, your eyes show that the path gets smaller as you go forward. But you know that this is your eyes, and this is your perception of this path. But in reality, as you walk, the path is the same size the whole way. But you believe that the path is the same size the whole way, even though looking at this picture, it goes from wide to not so wide. This is your beliefs. So I want you to do some thoughts into real deep down beliefs. What sometimes the invisible is the correct answer. When we make this switch, or even take even small steps, switching our thinking, it is a sign of real growth. Now, when I started this lesson, I said that I believe that this chapter may be one of the most important chapters in the book, because it gives us a basis on the importance of believing that these laws govern our lives. So as we study, we will improve and enlarge our ideas and our mental pictures, and we will improve and enlarge our minds. So as you aspire to realize the larger truth, you must inevitably grow in understanding. So next we will ask, what is the law's intention? Well, Jesus tells us that the universal mind has definite intentions. He says, "Fear not, little flock. It is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom." And we see that this intention is for the universal good. The principle is that which blesses the whole will bless all of its parts. So when our intention becomes reconciled or cooperative with the universal intention, then we become an expression of that good. And that is working with the law. No one can give this to you. You must create it within yourself. All that we may ever desire to have and to be is ours for the asking. as we correctly apply the law of life, the law of mind, and thus grow in wisdom and power. As Dr. John Murray so often said, we are according to our system of ideas. So we have some discussions, some things for you to ponder over, some action steps. I want you to take a few moments and reflect on your core values. Now, these are defined as what is most important to you and why you do what you do every day. Create yourself a list, core values. I want you to think also of 2 areas of your life where you had taken sides with the visible, what you saw, your circumstances, your conditions, your limitations. Now, these should be times when you felt like you were limited by your perceived circumstances. And then I want you to think about how they all worked out in the end. And how if you could have seen these times differently by believing or taking sides with the infinite part when they were happening, what would have changed? How would you have felt differently? What have you have done differently? Then the third steps, I want you to take a moment to ponder what would you love in your life and write it in your journal. So your life work for this week is to read chapter 2, The Law of Thinking, and listen to lesson 2 of the program and do the work in the client guidebook for chapter 2. It has been amazing teaching you about working with the law, and I look forward to seeing you next week. So you keep on track, keep studying.
This is my life. This is my time. I believe in me.